welcome to another episode here on Buzzin about bikes. Today I would like to talk a little bit about the Super Meteor 650 as well as my experience of riding it and how it handles. The video is showing us riding some of the twisty country roads of Essex. They are such great fun. Low speed control is good, although I found it easier on the shotgun. Maybe it is the riding stance and foot position which helped. For example, when doing a U-turn or any kind of turn in the road with the Super Meteor, I find myself putting one foot down to help me, where the shotgun I didn't have to. It was the same with my Keyway V Cruise, although because that was smaller I was more cramped, and the bar end mirrors always ended up hitting my legs around my knees, so I always struggled to turn that one in one. But how often do you do a U-turn though? During the motorcycle test, they like you to do it without a foot touching the floor. In the real world, does it matter? I'm sure the Super Meteor can turn without a foot down. I just find it more comfortable for me. But slow riding and moving along in stop-start traffic is a breeze. When you're stopped, getting it going again, I find the balance quite good as well. I just lift a leg up, or most of the time I lift both legs up, and away I am going. I find the bike to be quite nippy. It doesn't have instant power, it builds and then flies. I like it. It is a lot of fun without being over the top. I understand where people come from when they say 47 horsepower isn't enough, especially if you have two people on the bike and doing a tour. There are obviously mods you can do to the bike to gain extra horsepower. I also understand, but by limiting it to 47 horsepower, they opened up a whole new market in the A2 licence category here in the UK. I suppose Royal Enfield are doing what's best for them in terms of sales and meeting all sorts of emissions regulations and noise regulations and all sorts. But for me it is enough power to have fun round the country lanes and to cruise steadily at 60 to 70 miles an hour with no problems. I can have plenty of fun with this bike and enjoy the twisty lanes. I can cruise along and enjoy the view and the world passing me by. Yeah, it is probably the perfect bike for me. I've said it before, I'm happy if I only ever have to have one bike in life. I'm pretty happy that it is this one. I love this bike in the twisty country lanes. I know it is a tourer, but I just love how it handles and livens up a ride. It could eat endless miles and long straight roads all day, but yeah, I find myself looking forward to taking the long way to places, discovering new roads and taking long winding country paths and roads. This bike has plenty of character and the ability to have fun in a relaxed way. It isn't quite the quintessential gentleman's bike, but also it isn't a hoodlum bike. Like I said, it has plenty of character, a lot of fun. It is somewhere in the middle, somewhere in between. It's for someone who likes comfort, a beautiful looking bike that harks back to the classic days of British motorcycle. It's a head turner. I mean, when I've been out there, many people turned their heads and looked at it, and all while I've been out, come over and said how great the bike looked. The shotgun definitely felt more alive in turns and while accelerating. It goes to show that although the underlying platform is the same, they tweak each model slightly for different needs. I'm a big fan of this 650 platform with its various models. They've come up with a model for near enough every type of rider. They've given us a base to customise and tune from. There are so many models and variants that parts are interchangeable and you can truly build your custom bike. They've chosen a level which will be the most sellable for them, as I have said, taking into account emissions regulations, noise regulations, licence requirements, etc. But with a bit of tuning and modification, you could create a Super Meteor, or a Shotgun Classic, or an Interceptor Meteor. You know, this is a bit silly, but you get the point. The stock models are a base to customise and take to the next level if you wish, with near endless possibilities. And for those who want a modern take on a classic motorcycle, then simply by buying an off-the-shelf model, it is a perfect solution. The suspension is a popular upgrade for many. I don't find it as harsh as the Keyway V-Cruise was. My suspension is on preload setting number 3, and I find that anything but the biggest hole or bump in the road isn't too much of a problem. But I guess there is a reason so many upgrade the rear shocks, and I might find when I do some longer miles and rides that I too feel the need to upgrade. For now though, I would say, for the riding I do and the roads I travel on, it does the job good enough. With the panniers on, it does not affect your ability to change the suspension settings. It's a bit more difficult obviously, but once you have done it once or twice it becomes quick enough to do. It's certainly quicker than taking the panniers off, and how often do you change the suspension settings anyway? The panniers themselves are useful and look good on the bike. Their curves match the bike because they have been designed specifically for this one. I have videos on here talking about them, but I'm glad that they are on here. On my Keyway V-Cruise I had some cheap Temu fake leather saddlebags, and they were useful. They didn't look great, they weren't waterproof, and they weren't very big or practical, but I think a bike of this needs some sort of pannier or bag, and the long haul panniers offer, again, a good looking solution, and being black, I've seen people paint them and customise them for the colour of their bike, or do their own custom decal work on it. There's all sorts of possibilities. The touring seat itself is comfortable enough for me. I don't find it hard, and I've never ended a long ride with a sore backside. I can't comment on the standard Super Meteor seat, but as I said in the past, what one person finds comfortable, another person may find horrible. You must test and try everything before you buy it. If you're uncomfortable, you're going to get unhappy and be potentially distracted and end up with bigger problems on your hand. I love the riding position. While I learned the bikes on offer were uncomfortable for me, the 125s were too small, and the 500s you were folded up and bent up like a pretzel. I don't like this. It contributed to me failing part of my test the first time. If a bike is uncomfortable, then you won't want to ride, and it will make your riding no fun at all. Like I said, you could end up being distracted and end up in a collision or an accident, which you definitely don't want. The seat and riding position make it very comfortable. It is like a big comfy chair. You become part of the bike. You lose yourself in the ride and enjoy every moment of it. It is as if you and the bike are one, which is great. I don't like feeling like I'm perched atop a motorbike. I'm 6'2" and about 19 stone. I love the forward controls. Every control on the bike is in easy reach. I can touch the floor easily when I need to. I can get on and off it without too much hassle, though the panniers obviously mean I have to throw my legs a bit further. It is an ideal bike for those who are large, as you'd expect from a cruiser bike, but it's not overly large. It's not like a massive American cruiser. It still maintains a classic British feel to it. I just feel at home on this bike. I knew the first time I sat on it in the showroom that this was the bike for me. Interestingly enough, it was the same with the V-Cruise. I tried the less expensive RKV 125 model, but the moment I sat on the more expensive V-Cruise 125 with the belt drive, I just knew it was for me. The seat was a bit different, the height and everything. So again, it shows that reviews on the internet are a good starter and pointer, but you must try it to find out if it is the bike for you, because at the end of the day, you're the one who's going to be living with it. Because I upgraded from the Keyway V-Cruise, I initially wanted bar end mirrors. I like the look of them a lot and the practicality. However, would they work with the slightly curved handlebars of the Super Meteor? The chrome mirrors on there do look nice, and if I had bought a shotgun I probably would have put bar end mirrors on, because that would have suited it far more. However, for now I think I'll stick with the chrome ones, as they look good, and when set up they offer a good enough view behind. Not as good enough and unobstructed as the Keyway V-Cruise was, but I think if you were smaller than my large frame you'd see more of the road behind and less shoulder and arm, and that would definitely be a win. I will say the bike I did my test on, I could not see anything behind, and I kind of had to wing it. Somehow I managed to pass, so there we go. The brakes on the bike are good. They have adequate stopping power for this bike. A touch of rear brake can help you get round a tight corner. The front one pulled in can stop you quickly. I have no worries that I'll ever overshoot a corner, or that I won't stop, or there's a manoeuvre I can't get out of. My confidence that this bike will go where I want it to and stick to the road is very high. On that note, let's talk about the tyres quickly. I can't say how long they'll last for, I've only done 800-900 miles and had it 3 months, but I've had no issues so far in the dry, the wet, or on ice. I mean, it's not like sheets of ice, but yeah, I've been out on cold, icy mornings going to work and I haven't ended up sliding. Obviously, you don't do silly things like open the throttle full and drive crazily, but yeah, I mean, we all know horror stories of cars with cheap tyres and they spun and stuff, so time will tell how much life they offer, but I don't feel the need to upgrade the tyres. There is one note of annoyance, and this isn't limited to Royal Enfield as my Keyway had similar problems. The gear change is sometimes non-existent. I'll get stuck in second and it won't find neutral or first. Or it will say it is in gear and is in fact in neutral, and it won't go anywhere when you let off the clutch. But most of the time it is a nice smooth change from the 6-speed gearbox. So do I rate this bike as a buy? Well, there are so many factors when choosing anything in life. It is certainly a good bike for me and my needs. I'm happy with my purchase, but you may find it unsuitable for your needs. Only trying a bike in person will answer the question of if it is the one for you and the bike that you want to spend your hard-earned money on. But I would say I believe it is worth a lot of consideration for someone in the market for a cruiser or tourer motorcycle, or someone who wants a nice classic looking bike without having to buy an old classic bike and the issues that can come with them. It is affordable fun, it's stylish, reliable, and it's all wrapped up into a great looking package. So let me know what you think of this Super Meteor, or any of the Royal Enfield 650s in the comments below. What do you like, dislike? What would you change? What would you like to see in future from Royal Enfield? And as always, thanks for watching. Stay safe, have fun, and I'll see you next time.